Ww1 Australian History. We at International History focused on teaching the world its rich history. The following production is rated M and it contains graphic imagery. This documentary was produced by Matilda, Dean, Joseph, Christy, and Lupe.
The beginning. World War I, known as the Great War, began on July 28, 1914 as a global war including the Central Powers against the Allies. This conflict killed 19.1 million people, including more than 60% of those fighting to protect their lands. Main people involved. In June 1914, a Serbian nationalist terrorist group called the Black Hand assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary and his wife in the car. This caused Austria-Hungary to declare war on Serbia, which sparked World War I.
What technologies were used in World War I? Countries during World War I invented heavy artillery, machine guns, tanks, motorized transport vehicles, high explosives, chemical weapons, field radios, aerial reconnaissance cameras, and rapidly advancing medical technology. As well as science were just a few of the areas that reshaped the 20th century warfare that helped countries win and lose large battles. Australia's political position. Australia achieved Commonwealth on the 1st of January 1901, with Edmund Barton as its first Prime Minister. Although Australia was an independent country, they were still part of the British Empire, and were not able to make their own decisions due to certain foreign policies. This meant if Britain went to war, then Australia would have to join. Australian contributions and main battle locations. Australia contributed resources and manpower during World War I. There were three main battles that took place: the Battle of Formelles, the Battle of Gallipoli, and the Western Front. The horrors of war. 19.7 million people died during the course of World War I. 9.7 million being soldiers and active military combatants, and 10 million being innocent civilians. Almost everyone died a brutal death alone and afraid. Trench warfare was a dirty and cold place that was filled with disease and death. The life expectancy of a soldier in the trenches is just 6 weeks. The photos below are accurate depictions of trench warfare during World War I. The first image being the aftermath of enemy bombardment, and the second is a soldier collecting his friend's dog tag. (1914) June 28th. The Archduke Francis Ferdinand, heir to Austria-Hungary, is assassinated and was the most precipitate cause of World War I. July 28th. Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia. August 4th. Germany declared war with Britain and Australia. August 2nd to 7th. Germany invades Luxembourg and Belgium. France invade Alsace. British forces arrive in France. 1914. August 10th. Austria-Hungary invades Russia. September 9th. Allied forces halt German advance into France During First Battle of Marne, September 11th, Australia attacked a wireless radio station, and on September 21st, from September and onwards, all of Germany's forces in the Pacific colony surrender by Australian forces. 1915, February 18th, Germany begins naval blockade. April 25th, the Anzacs land on the Gallipoli shore. May 7th, German sub sinks the passenger liner Lusitania, and on May 23rd, Italy declares war on Austria-Hungary.
August 6, 1915. Battle of Lone Pine, Gallipoli. This fifth battle was the only successful Australian attack against the Turkish trenches. It was intended to divert attempts made by New Zealand and Australian units to break out from the Anzac perimeter battlefield. This battle of intense hand-to-hand fighting resulted in over 2,000 Australian casualties. 7 Victorian Crosses were awarded for bravery to Australian troops. December 20th. Last Australian troops evacuated from Gallipoli. The Allies evacuated 300,000 troops from the battlefields of Sulva Bay at Anzac Cove in Gallipoli. There were virtually no casualties in this withdrawal, and the Turkish were unaware of the evacuation taking place. Many men were saddened by having to leave behind the graves of their dead comrades. 1916, July 19th. Battle of Fromelles. This was the first major battle on the Western Front fought by Australian troops. The attack was intended to deceive German troops away from the Somme offensive, then being pursued further to the south. The 5th Australian Division suffered 5,533 casualties, and the 61st British Division suffered 1,547. The Germans lost a little more than 1,000. 1917, February 1st. Germany returns to unrestricted submarine warfare, halted after sinking off Lusitania. February 3rd, 1917. United States sever diplomatic relations with Germany. April 6, 1917. The United States declared war on Germany. 1917. April 11th. First Battle of Bullecourt. The battle was fought as part of the British offensive north and south of Arras. It was undertaken to support a major attack further south. It resulted in 3,289 Australian casualties. General John Jay arrives in England with his staff. June 24th, 1917. U.S. combat forces arrive in France. 1917, July 31st, the Third Battle of Ypres, also known as the Battle of
Passchendaele.
This battle was mostly fought in shocking weather conditions until the fall of
Passchendaele.
village on 6th of November. The Allies attacked the Flanders, the French region on the German front, but only gained a few kilometers. It was a costly battle, taking the lives of 310,000 British men and 260,000 German men. (1918) March 3rd. Russia signs Treaty of Brest-Litovsk with Germany. March 21st. Germany begins its final offense of the war. April 25th. Australians drive Germans from Villers.
1918 March and April, women were recruited to serve as bilingual telephone operators for the AEF. May 28th, the US forces are victorious in the Battle of Vannes. June 2nd, American forces stop German attempt to cross Marne River at Chateau Thierry.
1918, July 15. Second Battle of Marne starts. September 12. American First Army attacks at Saint-Mihiel salient. September 26. Allied forces begin the attack at Meuse-Argonne.
1918, November 11th. During World War I, over 35 million people were killed, wounded, or missing. After 4 long years of fighting, the French town of Redunces, Germany signed an
armistice
with the Allies. The official date and time of the end of World War I was 11 a.m. on the 11th day of the 11th month. This is known as
Armistice
Day or Remembrance Day.